who looked into all problems, deeply interested in solving all problems, anything that had to do with women and children. He saw them all in a much larger context, in the context of a nation and the nation in the context of the world. In himself, he combined all them. Being educated in rather a Western way, he was mostly familiar to Western culture and ideas. Yet the more he was influenced, somehow the more Indian he became, within himself and also through his actions, thoughts, and his love for the country. He was far of a poet than a politician. Someone has said that out of a person's quarrel with the society, literature comes out, but out of one's inner conflict, poetry comes out. These both qualities were present in the man whom we are talking about. I am talking about the first Prime Minister of independent India, Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Born on 14 November 1889 as the son of Swarup Rani and Motilal Nehru, his father, Motilal Nehru, was a prominent lawyer, activist, and politician belonging to Indian National Congress. He was a man of true knowledge and unbeatable will. Pandit Nehru gained all of his uncomparable qualities from his father. Nehru always described his childhood as a sheltered and eventful one. He grew up in an atmosphere of privilege at wealthy homes, including a palatial estate called the Anand Bhavan. His father educated him at home with the help of private governesses and tutors. Nehru was interested in science and theosophy. At the age of 13, he was subsequently initiated into the Theosophical Society by their family friend Annie Besant. Nehru graduated himself from the Trinity College, Cambridge in the year 1910 with an honours degree in natural science. He also studied economics, history, politics, and literature. His political and economic thinking was innovated from the writings of Bernard Shaw, Bertrand Russell, Lewis Dickinson, and many such other writers. After completing his degree, he moved on to London and studied law at Inner Temple. After returning back to India in August 1912, Nehru enrolled himself as an advocate of the Allahabad High Court and tried to settle down as a barrister. The first big national involvement of Nehru came at the onset of non-cooperation movement in 1920. He led the movement in the United Provinces, now better known as Uttar Pradesh. Nehru was arrested on charges of anti-governmental activities in 1921 and was released a few months later. In the rift that formed within the Congress following the sudden closure of the non-cooperation movement after the Chauri Chaura incident, Nehru remained loyal to Gandhi and did not join the Swaraj Party formed by his father Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das. Rather, he joined Gandhi to continue with the freedom struggle of India. The Salt Satyagraha or Salt March was another big movement in which Nehru joined hands with Gandhi. Nehru and most of the Congress leaders were initially ambivalent about Gandhi's plan to begin civil disobedience movement with a satyagraha aimed at the British salt tax. After facing many hardships, Indian leaders, however, gained success. The Salt Satyagraha succeeded in drawing the attention of the Indians as well as Britishers. The world opinion increasingly began to recognize the legitimacy of the claims by the Congress party. Nehru considered the Salt Satyagraha the high watermark of his association with Gandhi for independence and felt that its lasting importance was in changing the attitude of Indians. Nehru was the first Prime Minister of independent India. He served as PM for 18 years, first as the interim Prime Minister and from 1950 as the Prime Minister of the Republic of India. He can be regarded as the founder of modern Indian state. This can be attributed to the national philosophy for India that Nehru formulated. For Nehru, modernization was a national philosophy with 6 main goals. They are national unity, parliamentary democracy, industrialization, socialism, development of the scientific temper, and the last but not the least, non-alignment. Nehru implemented many policies based on import substitution industrialization and advocated a mixed economy where the government controlled public sector would coexist with the private sector. He believed that the establishment of basic and heavy industry was fundamental to the development and modernization of the Indian economy. Under Nehru's leadership, the government attempted to develop India quickly by embarking on agrarian reform and rapid industrialization. A successful land reform was introduced that abolished giant land holdings, but efforts to redistribute land by placing limits on land ownership failed. Nehru was a passionate advocate of education for India's children. He always believed that youth is essential for India's future progress. His government oversaw the establishment of many institutions of higher learning, including the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, that is AIIMS, the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, the Indian Institute of Management, IIM, and the National Institutes of Technology. Nehru was a prolific writer in English and wrote a number of books, such as The Discovery of India, Glimpses of World History, and his ultimate autobiography, Toward Freedom. He had written 30 letters to his daughter, Indira Gandhi, when she was 10 years old and in a boarding school in Missouri, teaching about national history and the story of civilizations. The collection of these letters was later published as a book named Letters from a Father to His Daughter. In 1955, Nehru was awarded the Bharat Ratna, India's largest civilian honor. Nehru was very fond of children and often referred to as Chacha Nehru. He advocated children to have a fulfilled childhood and receive high education. Children's Day commemorates the birth of Jawaharlal Nehru with immense joy and magnificence throughout the educational institutions across India. Chacha Nehru is also associated with his attire of pinning a fresh red rose to his coat every day. He made it a point to wear a rose as a reminder of his life with his wife Kamala, who passed away in 1938 after a prolonged illness. Affectionately called Chacha Nehru, children will always cherish this day to commemorate childhood, love, and innocence. Pandit Nehru was died on 27th May 1964 at Delhi. Draped in the Indian national tricolour flag, his body was placed for public viewing. On 28th May, Nehru was cremated in accordance with Hindu rites at the Shantivan on the banks of river Yamuna, which was witnessed by 1.5 million mourners who had flocked into the streets of Delhi and the cremation grounds. It's a great honor that we got the opportunity to witness such a great person. He was not just a great prime minister but also a wise human being.